I'm here with Courtney Gains, otherwise known as my favorite movie, The Burbs. Hans, how do you pronounce the last name, sir?
Hans Klopek.
Klopek. He was like one of my favorite characters in The Burbs.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I guess I just want to reiterate, like, growing up, when I was growing up, the whole magnificent about working with Tom Hanks had to be really cool. I mean,
He's
tell me a little
great.
bit about that.
He's a great guy. I mean, he's really just like he seems. I mean, I don't know that there's a bigger star that is, more down to earth than
Or
Tom
Corey
Hanks.
Feldman.
Corey was a lot of fun to work with. I mean, he kind of at that time kind of was like that character. I mean, he was just playing the stoner.
That's awesome.
I have to say, it was probably for me probably my favorite was probably the Bruce Dern. He kind of really sort of took a shining to the work I was doing and gave me some great advice in terms of career and things like that. And I also just really love his work.
So is there any cool stories that you have that working on the set?
Cool. I don't know. Let's see. I mean, the number one thing was we were shooting a lot of nights, and we were shooting in LA. So you're trying to live your life and shoot nights.
Right.
So that really took its toll. I gotta be honest. I think we shot like a month of nights. And the other thing that was interesting was it was during the writer's strike in the 80s, which may not be a big deal to you, but what I would say was on the Universal lot, the entire lot, it was us and Fletch 2. That was it.
So Fletch 2 was filming at the same time the Burbs were.
Yeah,
wow,
but
amazing.
it was a ghost town.
It's a great movie too.
Yeah, but I mean there was nothing else happening.
Wow.
Well, it was just like we ran the joint. There was nothing else going on.
It's kind of a weird time for, the studios back then.
Yeah, well, it was the writer's strike lasted I think like 3 months or something. So
Right.
it was a big stoppage of work for everybody. Everybody kept telling me how lucky I was to be working, but I was too young to really realize how lucky I was.
Right.
And I got in right under the radar there. So, and then the last thing I'd say about it is, when the house blows up and that big spike comes through the police car?
Yeah.
Well, you assume these are like big time special effects guys, there should be nothing to worry about. It came down, didn't go through the car, and hit Rick Duperman in the head.
Oh, man.
And they were like, I'm like, you didn't make it like balsa wood or something? They're like, we thought it would go through. I'm like, what if it had done this and impaled, somebody?
Right.
Oh, sorry, we thought it would have gone through. That's when I realized no movie's set safe. You have to ask questions and you have to make sure.
That's true.
Because you would expect more out of a big budget film like that.
No, I agree.
They
I
take
totally
that
agree.
kind of nutty risk.
I totally agree. They didn't have insurance for the movie sets back then?
Well, insurance is one thing, but what if you impale somebody? There's no insurance
No,
for that.
I totally agree.
Right? I mean,
on
somebody could. I mean, Rick was pretty pissed off because he got conked in the head. It wasn't hurt, but
Right.
it's just annoying.
Well, I hear you have a funny story when it relates to the Children of the Corn.
Yeah, I got a good story. Because people always ask, like, what was the best story or prank or whatever. So, in the beginning of the movie, when I slit the throat of that kid Jonas and they hit him on the highway.
Right.
She has Linda Hamilton has a dream sequence where she comes up to him and because he's covered in the tarp, right, and he pops up and scares her.
Yeah.
But they really snuck him under there.
Wow.
And everybody on the crew but Linda Hamilton knew. And when he popped up, I mean,
Wow.
she really jumped back and screamed, and the whole crew laughed. And she was a great sport about it. Super sweet. I mean, she's really, really nice lady.
Very cool.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously very talented, but very nice.
Well, so what was the, I would say, weirdest experience as far as being on the set of Children of the Corn?
Weirdest experience.
Well, I know that a lot of the haunting type of movies.
Yeah,
like
well,
Exorcist
I would say
some weird
I don't have
experiences
any
that have
great bizarre phenomenon like that. But the thing that was probably the most interesting is Fritz Kearse, the director, told me to make sure that I wasn't friendly with the kids.
Okay.
But I think he also told, I'm speculating only because of the way we got along, I think he told Peter Horton not to be great to me. So there was sort of that vibe where people were kind of but I had those kids didn't. I had those kids creeped out. They did not like me.
That's pretty awesome, actually.
Right. It was good direction. But so there was a little of that kind of tension on the set, as opposed to hey, we're all buddies,
Right.
Which I think it worked.
That's cool. I mean, if a dynamic works like that for a movie, then it makes it a lot more better as far as watching it for the viewer.
Sure. I think with kids and things, that was a good idea. And it was my first film, and I'm sure Fritz's eyes, I was just a kid. I was 18 years old, so
right.
I think he told Peter, stare that kid down a little bit.
See, I used to watch that movie when it was like it came out in 1984. If I'm
Yeah, that's correct.
on that.
That's correct.
So I was about like 5 or 6 when I watched it.
God. Yeah,
And I was
that's
like,
a little young, man.
It was one of my first movies that I watched.
And it explains why we're here today doing this interview.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's talk about some of your future events. I hear you have a couple films coming out this year.
Been working. Let's see, the last TV thing I did was an episode of Southland, so it was the end of their 4th season. I was in LA Noire that came on now on DVD, not DVD, video game, right? Have you seen that? LA Noire?
I have. I've actually played it a little bit.
Oh, yeah, very
I haven't
cool.
gotten very far in it.
Oh, well, eventually you'll find
PlayStation
me.
3, correct?
Yeah. Eventually you'll find me. Very cool thing because it's the first time in a video game that looks like a video game you actually see the actor's face for real. Like you'll know it's me. You know?
Right.
That's never been done before. It's
That's
a really painstaking process, actually.
Blue screen, green screen?
Well, they had to do the bubble suit thing first, right?
Right.
And then you go back and you go in this room and they have cameras all over, not just like they think about the bubble suit, like all over from every angle. And you have to stay perfectly still. And you do like one line at a time. And you have to have your hair completely matted down in plastic so no light can get through it at all. And you do it, and then they take that and they render that onto the bubble thing.
Okay.
I mean, that's a crazy process.
No, that is a crazy process.
Yeah, and it took them years and years to make the project because of all of that.
I mean, as Joker, I generally just kind of knife the person, and everybody's expendable.
Much quicker and easier.
Much quicker and much
Yes,
easier.
Yes,
Yeah, so-
absolutely. And then I just been doing some independent films. A horror film called 333. A western called Kill a Memory, and then I just did a movie that I played the lead in called Halcyon. That is a bit of a thriller.
What's your personal favorite out of those?
Probably Halcyon because of the fact that I carry the movie and it's emotionally very challenging. The guy kind of goes mad.
That's a kind of a different role for you.
Well, I've played crazy before, right?
You played crazy,
Yeah.
but not that type of.
Yeah, it was
it's a different
very
type of crazy.
very emotional. I mean, he breaks down and things, and so you know, as an actor, I love to be able to go different places, but I don't always get the opportunity to go that far. So
That's really cool.
I got to really push myself to the edge. So hopefully it looks good.
I always thought there was levels of craziness.
As
far as movies go.
That's true.
You know.
That's true. Like I said, this one was just emotionally difficult, emotionally gut wrenching.
Because a lot of people think, for example, like Saw is more of a horror movie when it's more of a thriller. You know.
Well, it kind of created the whole gore genre, though, didn't it?
It kind of
gore horror. I think
it kind of did, but it was like it goes under gore horror, which is more thriller type than horror itself.
Okay, I got
If
you.
that makes any sense.
Okay, I got
Then you have
you.
movies like Jason and Freddy, which are more avid to horror,
Gotcha.
cheesy
Okay.
horror movies. You know? Which that's what I grew up on.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, those are the
were
ones,
great.
right? Yeah.
And I can't wait to see if there's going to be like another Jason flick or another Mike Myers or something that's going to, you know, re-advocate some of the old time stuff.
Somebody that comes up with another sort of character in that genre.
Yeah, kind of something
would,
like
would
that.
be cool. But it's it's tricky to kind of reinvent that wheel. But
What's your favorite horror movie? You don't let me ask.
no. It's pretty old school, and it's just because it's the one that got me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I went to see The Exorcist when I was like 10 years old in the theater.
I heard so many
Without
backlight
any
stories.
parents or anything, with just me and another friend. Oh
Yeah.
my God, that ruined me. I mean, that was bad. That was bad. That scared me to death. Because at the time, I mean, there was no special effects of that level.
Right.
So for a 10-year-old, all of a sudden see this heavy-duty special effects, and I don't know, that movie. I feel that movie, in my opinion, is probably the best, quote unquote, horror movie ever made or whatever. It really channeled some pretty heavy energy in that movie.
For me, it would have been Freddy.
Yeah.
Because when I was growing up, I was like, whoa, this is like totally awesome and scary at the same time. I love it.
Well, I think the any story is, for me, any story, whether it be horror or not, is for me, it's the believability of could this happen.
Right.
And I think the idea of something getting into your dreams, that really taps into a
little bit.
Yeah, and I think, one of the reasons I think Children of the Corn worked is it's the idea of like, wow, in a small enough town, could the kids take over? I think it's that, could that happen?
Right.
I think that really is what taps into something,
The Crazies is one of my favorites too.
Right.
That just came out.
Right.
A couple of years ago.
Could a bunch of people take over his place and do this, and that was based on real stuff too,
Right.
Right. So there you go. Yeah.
Which is really interesting.
Well, as far as the new films, do you have any other video games that are coming out that got your voice to it, or
No, nothing else
that,
this time.
well,
Hopefully LA Noire, because it's been such a cool thing, will open up some doors.
It's a great game.
Yeah,
I mean, it got great reviews when it came out.
Yeah, big time. So I hope it opens up some doors in that arena. It'd be fun to be able to do some more work.
How was the video game work as opposed to, like, say, doing the movies? I mean,
Well, no, normally, like you said, most of the time it's just doing voiceover. So
Right.
we still had to act, and like I said, it was very difficult because when we did the facial stuff, we couldn't move much, and we had to
Right.
do like one line at a time. So it was very difficult to sort of try to piece a performance together where
Right.
you weren't sure if you were, So you just had to concentrate and try to give them something,
well, I just wanted to say thank you for being on the show.
Sure.
We're huge fans of what you do.
Thanks.
First off, and the movies that are coming out are just amazing.
Cool.
The game, my game, as far as like, let me retry that. As far as everything goes, as far as your future events, I've heard about a lot of the movies that are coming out for your future movies, but I would have to say that by far the game is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, the acting that you did in that game was just amazing.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Just trying to stay busy and keep working,
Now, is there anywhere where my audience might be able to come and support you?
Sure, you can join my Facebook, and
Okay.
I apparently there's more than one Courtney Gains on there, but the one with 4,000 whatever people on it, that's the one.
Okay.
And you can find me on like CourtneyGains.com and stuff too if you want to try to get some autographed pictures or something like that.
Is that primarily like a fan site?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Cool.
So, but if you want to try to reach me, you can find me on Facebook, and
Well, very
I will
cool.
try to reply.
That's absolutely awesome. Guys, you heard it here first. Courtney Gains, Sci-Fi Horror Weekend. Come check him out. This guy is awesome, guys. Come check him out in all those movies that we talked about on lotuscomics.com. Come check us out on Facebook. And otherwise, thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.
So hey, this is Courtney Gains, and you're on Lotus Comics Press, and want to promote my band Ripple Street. I just put an EP out that you can go on Facebook and you can check out the band.